Sheila, can you tell us about in-family adoption?
Yes, in-family adoptions in India are quite common, and they occur in different ways. Sometimes, when children are older and their biological parents, for whatever reason, either because of their living arrangements or circumstances, socioeconomics, etc., when they're not able to take care of their children, they send them to aunts and uncles and extended family and relatives. We all know that. So the child lives there, grows up there, receives education and so on. But in those instances, it's not so much adoption as fostering. Mm-hmm. What the extended family is doing is fostering these children, and children have a clarity because they're older that these are my aunt and uncle, and these are my parents. That's one way it happens. But there is another way in which in-family adoption takes place. In families, sometimes there are couples who are not able to have children. There are health and fertility issues, perhaps, due to which they cannot conceive, and because of family and social pressures, there is the need to acquire or have a child. In such instances, there are arrangements between this couple and another couple in the family who may have more than one child. Mm-hmm. And that couple may give this couple a baby. When children are very young, a baby is given over to this couple who could not conceive. And then this child is raised by this couple as their own. So those are some ways in which in-family adoption happens, and the reason why the preference is to take a child from somebody else in the family is, concerns around genetics, and, we don't want a child from outside. Better to have a child of known genetic and lineage, and so on.
But tell me, is this legal?
No. It isn't legal. You see, in the former case where I said children are fostered by uncles and aunts, that is an arrangement. There is no legality around that, and children are aware, as I told you. It's an arrangement. But here, when children are given in babyhood, completely given over to the other person, it's like adoption. Mm-hmm. And sometimes for years, nothing is said to the child, and the child doesn't even know that he or she was actually born to his uncle and aunt, mm-hmm. and that, the parents are actually his uncle and aunt, so to speak. So complex. And these are not legal arrangements. Just because they're given within the family, this is not legal procedure.
Okay. So, according to you, is it advisable to go in for in-family adoption?
Well, it's a tricky question. But I would say not, for the reasons I already mentioned. How these in-family adoptions take place, like I said, is when the baby is given over mm-hmm. at a very early stage. The biological parents and the adoptive parents are both very worried about the child getting to know, mm-hmm. The family secret or the truth.
Okay.
And much effort is made to preserve it. Mm-hmm. But you know how these things play out. Ultimately, the child finds out at a later stage, by accident or discovery. Mm-hmm. And this can create a lot of distress and confusion for the child, and then therefore for the family, mm-hmm. Because the child may feel very betrayed. Why wasn't I told? Why was this arrangement made? Why did my parents give me away? Mm-hmm. Very, very complex and distressing. The other issue that makes this a not so happy arrangement is the adoptive parents and the biological parents continue to have this connection because they live in the same family. Mm-hmm. They're part of the same family, even if they don't live in the same physical space. So there is the risk of constant interference by the biological parents with how the child is being raised and how things are being done.
Yeah.
And all this is likely to create a lot of problems within that family, for the adopted child, for the adopted parents, not allowing them to, create a unit of their own. So in a nutshell, It can be quite complex, and in-family adoptions in general are not advisable.